I didn't forget my life at home, but you kind of take on a new role and it's a little interesting. And I was like, wow, I can see how people could kind of lose themselves.
Jenny Oaks Baker is returning to Idaho Falls for a Christmas concert on November 24th. Joy to the World, a sacred celebration. This is the second year for this particular concert. Jenny,
Yes.
thanks for talking to me today.
Thank you. I'm really excited to come to Idaho Falls in just like a week and a half. My goodness.
Yeah, no kidding. Isn't it crazy? We're already in the Christmas season almost.
It's insane. I mean, I've been living Christmas all year, but at least the lots of work part of the Christmas tour. So I'm looking forward to just the Christmassy part and the performing and greeting the audience part. So.
Yes. Joy to the World, a sacred celebration. You bring along Alex Sharpe and Jason Wright, who people know as the author of Christmas Jars. You had this show last year at the Civic. So this is your second year.
Yeah, it's slightly different show. We've improved it and tightened it up and just made it even more special.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. I know I saw last year's event, and not to give anything away, but that final number that Alex Sharpe performed was amazing.
Oh,
I think the entire show was worth it just to see that final number. It was very moving and I enjoyed it.
I'm glad. Well, we've got the same Elevate Dance studio are the same lyrical dancers. This year we've got cloggers that are going to be doing Irish dancing from Instep Clogging. And we've got the Sounds Choir is our choir this year. Alex Sharpe, of course, was in Celtic Woman. So she'll still be bringing her beautiful Celtic woman sound. She sounds like an angel. Jason Wright will still be a shepherd doing his narration, but the show is improved and even more spiritually impactful. I hired a creative director who works with the Tabernacle Choir on Temple Square doing their Christmas concerts to just make it an even more beautiful, impactful show. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how it all comes together. And Idaho Falls is our first stop on our tour. So that is the debut for this year's tour, and really excited to come back. It's always a great crowd, but we need people to buy tickets because we haven't sold well, maybe I shouldn't say that. I really need people to buy tickets, and you really don't want to miss it. And I would love them to buy tickets now because it will just help me rest easier. So if you're going to buy tickets, please buy them now because it'll just help my Thanksgiving to not be so stressful.
Yeah. So like you said, it's kicking off this show. Your tour this year is kicking off in Idaho Falls,
right?
November 24th. So we'll include a link below this video where people can buy those tickets. But Jenny, I was looking on your website at your schedule over the next month or so. It's quite grueling. Let me give people an idea of what it looks like. So like we mentioned, it's going to start in Idaho Falls, and then the next day you'll be in Boise, and then you'll do 3 shows in Texas. You'll circle back to Utah in Salt Lake where you live.
The next day.
Then you're going to Seattle, Alberta, St. Louis, Chicago, and then you're back in Utah in Logan.
Yeah.
You're like all over the place.
Well, there's Christmas season. People don't want to go to a Christmas show in October. So you basically have between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And this year I felt like my Father wanted me to really go big. And last year we did 10 shows. And this year I really wanted to do 20. And I felt like that's what the Lord wanted me to do. And so I thought that 20 would be like not that much harder than 10, but I was wrong. Planning 20 shows is so much harder than 10. So much harder than 10. It's way more than double. I don't even know why, but it has been so much more than double the amount of work. And also, I think last year out of COVID, everyone was really excited. Like venues weren't as full and other performers, because I had to get 60 different performing groups for this tour. So finding 20 choirs, 20 Irish dance groups, 20 lyrical dancers all around the country who are already pretty busy with post-COVID life. We're all pretty busy. I think we're busier than we were before COVID, and we're certainly busier than we were coming out of COVID. And so just getting the groups and communicating with them, getting them the music, getting them the recordings, like getting the venues booked, getting the marketing for 20 different cities and trying to reach people in 20 different markets. And it's just been so much work, but it's totally going to be worth it. And I'm so excited as long as people come.
When you go from city to city, do you guys just drive or do you fly sometimes?
We're flying to Seattle. That's too far because it's just too far to drive. And we're flying to Calgary because it's too far to drive and it's cold. We're also flying to St. Louis and Chicago, flying down to Texas, doing the Texas, flying back, doing the Chicago, like flying to California and then flying to Mesa. But all the Utah shows, the Idaho shows, the Las Vegas show, we'll drive to those.
I see. Okay. Well, on the times when you drive, like you're going to be driving from Idaho Falls to Boise, probably drive to the Utah shows.
Yeah.
As you guys travel together, give us a sense of the behind the scenes interaction of your family. Is it, do you guys, how do you guys break up the monotony of the road and so forth?
Well, my kids are older now and they're going to be doing homework, honestly. And I'm just going to be like making sure that like the marketing is going in. Cause when I start Idaho Falls, I still have a month of marketing before my Mesa show. So I'm just going to be working the whole time. It's when my kids were little, it was different. It was just your typical road trip as a family, but with like cellos and guitars and violins and merch and sound equipment and gowns and all that stuff going on as well in the back of the Suburban. But my kids are older now. We get along really well. We love to be together. There's a lot of laughing, a lot of teasing, some parenting. But they are older. They're from age 17 to 22. So they're older, but it's just like a family reunion at this point.
Yeah, that's very fun. Well, so again, the show is on November 24th, and we'll put a link below this video where you guys can buy tickets for that.
Awesome. There's a discount. There's a discount code for your viewers of Joy10, all caps Joy10. That'll give them 10% off. Please buy your tickets now. It just helps me to know how much more marketing dollars I need to spend to reach people. But if you're going to go, please just buy your tickets now and use the 10% off code and come say hi after the show. There's also a VIP reception for those who want to have a little more intimate time chatting with all of me, my family, and Alex and Jason, as long with some refreshments. And let me show you. I have this Witnesses of Christmas. 1 second.
Okay.
A Christmas book. So Jason and we wrote this beautiful Christmas book. It's really lovely, like coffee table. It's called Witnesses of Christmas, and it's actually from the show. It's the narration from the show, but it's really lovely. It has that narration, and so you can perform it as a family. And so the narration's here with beautiful pictures of kind of the Christmas.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
You do the narration, and then between this, like then the songs are available by a QR code. And you can either just listen to our family performing the songs, audio, or you can watch, there's a lot of videos there that you can watch of us performing the songs, or you can, if you play piano, you can play the songs and sing along. Or if you don't have a piano and you just want to sing, but you don't want to play the piano, there's also accompaniment tracks that you can play, and you can sing along and just read the music. And so you can actually perform the whole show as a family around your living room, around your piano. It's just a really beautiful, beautiful book with gorgeous pictures of the Savior. Anyway, so we'll have these to sell at the show, but if you come to the reception, everyone will get a signed copy who comes to that pre-concert reception. So if you want to come to that reception, we'd love to see you there as well. And that's just a separate ticket. You can buy your ticket and then buy that reception ticket, and that's just before the show. And it'll be then you won't be fighting the crowds to chat with us and get a picture and get your book. And I think Jason's also giving his Christmas Jars book to those who come to the reception as well. So you're going to walk away with a lot of like a credential and a couple books and a poster and just lots of fun stuff for those that come to the pre-concert.
So Jenny, we've spoken before, and we've talked about how you've been playing violin since you were 4 years old, and your music has been on Billboard, and you're a Grammy-nominated musician. But many people might not be as familiar with the fact that you had a small part in a movie about 8 years ago, a movie called Christmas Eve, and it had an ensemble cast, but among it was John Heder from Napoleon Dynamite and Patrick Stewart from Star Trek. any desire to do any more acting?
It was really fun. What I loved, the director is Mitch Davis, who's a good friend. He was wonderful to work with. It was fun my favorite thing was to be thrust into the center of a new art and be surrounded by people who had perfected that art. I certainly hadn't perfected that art. So it's a totally new art for me, but to be surrounded by people that were in the middle of their great art and just be thrust into the center of it all. And Mitch Davis, as the director, he did have to say to me a few times, Jenny, be in the movie, stop watching the movie. Because I'd just be like, this is so cool. Yeah. So he had to remind me to continue acting and not just watching, because it was just fascinating. So I'd love to. I mean, I'm really busy with my performances, but yeah, if I had that opportunity, I'd absolutely do it. It was really fun. We filmed it in Bulgaria. I met Cheryl Hines. She was in my cast of characters in my elevator. It's different groups of people in elevators that get stuck on Christmas Eve and what happens to each of them and the relationships that develop. It's a good little movie. I think people would enjoy it. It's very clean. It's uplifting. It's fun. But Cheryl Hines was in my elevator, and she is kind of a little bit in the public eye. Well, she was in, I forgot the name of the show she's in. People will have heard of it. But anyway, she's the wife of the Kennedy that's running for president. I forgot his name. Is it Michael Kennedy?
Oh, Robert Kennedy? Robert Kennedy Jr.?
I don't remember. It's whoever's running right now. It's a Kennedy. But anyway, so she's his wife. So that's kind of interesting. But I met her, and then I also met, John Heater and Patrick Stewart, and that was really, really cool. Robert F. Kennedy, you're right. And she was in the movie I was thinking the show is Curb Your Enthusiasm. That's what I never watched it, but a lot of people have watched that. But she was in my elevator, as was the actor that was in Pride and Prejudice. Remember like the 6 or 7 CD version, not CD, VCR tape version. Maybe you're too young.
Yes. Yeah.
That VCR tape version of Pride and Prejudice that was like all age when I was little. He was on that. So those were my claim to fames. And it was just really an enjoyable experience, but it was pretty crazy being an actor, because I was just on set for like 3 days, I think, for our scenes. And what was fascinating to me is how I can see how playing a character, you can lose yourself. Where you're like, and of course I'm new to acting, and so I'm sure professionals know how to do this better than I did. Mm-hmm. But I started to not forget my life at home. This was also like 8-9 years ago. I didn't forget my life at home, but you kind of take on a new role, and it's a little interesting. And I was like, wow, I can see how people could kind of lose themselves. And maybe I didn't make any bad choices as an actress, and I'm not saying everyone does, but I can see how you could maybe start thinking you're a different person, and so you can start acting a different way. And it might not, maybe they lose sight that it will actually affect their real life if they act a certain way on set or out, like after set hours. I don't know. It was just interesting to be kind of in a new art. Yeah, but that's interesting. I just gave you all my deep thoughts.
No, well, but so was it you said you knew Mitch Davis, the director, was it that association that got you the part in the movie?
Yeah. He just called and he said, we'd like you to be in this movie. And I was like, fun. So he knew my music. His daughter is actually married to my nephew. So he knew me that way too. And he knew my music, and thought the character is a violinist. So he wanted me to play the violin in the movie. And so you hear me playing in the movie, you see me playing. So that's kind of how it came to be.
I also wasn't aware in the past you have collaborated on different projects with Marie Osmond, Gladys Knight.
Album. Yeah, performed with her.
On an album?
So Marie Osmond, I was on her last album. She did like a classical album, and I recorded a song or two on it.
Oh, okay.
So that was that. Gladys Knight, we performed on a program for President Hinckley's 90th birthday celebration. So that was that collaboration.
Okay. So how did you and Marie Osmond come together?
Um, she just called me up and said, "Will you be on my album?" She was familiar with my music. It was also, I'm really good friends with her daughter-in-law's mother. So that's, I'm sure, how she got my number. But yeah, so my really good friends, their daughter's married to Marie Osmond's oldest son, and just great family friends. And so I know her son really well. And so I'd met Marie a couple times, actually at their house. And so she just said, "Will you be on my latest album?" And I said, "I'd love to." So that's how that went.
Is she the same person she is on stage? You know, the same outgoing person, or is she more reserved in on a personal level?
She's very sweet. She's very kind and very sweet, like just a really nice, good person. She loves to talk about the temple. She loves to talk about her testimony of God. Um, and I also performed on the same Stadium of Fire show as she did. So that's the last time I saw her. But she's just sweet and lovely and good and kind. And so it's always a joy to me. Really performers who are really good people.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have any projects coming up with other musicians?
Well, I am in the middle of planning my spring the Redeemer programs. I've got an Easter show called The Redeemer, and it's just an incredible production. It's one of the most spiritually impactful, musically gorgeous things I've ever been a part of. And I'm taking that production on tour to 6 cities in the spring. So as soon as Christmas tour is over, I'll be deep in the throes of preparing for those 6 concerts and spreading the word. But we're going to March 1st is in Gilbert, Arizona. March 9th is in Nashville. March 18th is in Salt Lake at Abravanel Hall. You should drive down and see that show. That's the closest one to Idaho Falls. It's totally the most gorgeous thing you'll ever experience. Life-changing.
And where's Abravanel Hall?
Abravanel Hall's in Salt Lake. It's the Utah Symphony's hall, right across from Temple Square.
Gotcha.
That's Salt Lake. It's a Monday night, March 18th. And then March 23rd at Tuacahn in St. George. And then March 28th in Washington, D.C. area. And then March 30th at Lincoln Center in New York City. So as soon as Christmas tour is over, then I'll start promoting the Redeemer. And I hope to take that to like 20 cities in 2025. So I'll scale back Christmas, probably next Christmas, and then throw myself completely into planning to just take the Redeemer to the world. So I feel very led to bring Christ-centered programming that makes a difference in people's lives to the world. So that's keeps me busy from like 5 a.m. until 11 p.m. every night.
Jenny, it's been great to talk to you again. Great catching up. So yeah, just one more time, we'll tell people the show Joy to the World, a Sacred Celebration. It's happening at people know it as the Civic. I think it was recently renamed, but people know it as the Civic. It's on November 24th, and you can get those tickets for that now that we'll put in a link below. Anything else you want to add about this show?
I really hope people come with their families and really just enjoy the show and feel the spirit and just let themselves be, taken away and feel closer to Jesus Christ. The show is about becoming a better witness of Jesus Christ. And I really hope that it really impacts people and really changes their Christmas season to be even more about the Savior and really makes this whole Christmas more meaningful.